We won't be in the playoffs.
Well, the Flames
because of empty stats, Matthew Tkachuk.
Wow.
What happened was they hired the murderer of fun, and the murderer of fun is Paul Maurice. That's what happened. He's the murderer of fun. We were the most fun team last year.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points, you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot. You're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs.
Trying to play a more playoff style type of hockey.
That's
what he said.
Of
Playoff
nonsense. Playoff style.
Are you going to play the playoff style from home?
I'm still offended at the opening night broadcast from the Florida Panthers when they came out and said, we got to sell what we did in this offseason to the fans. And so what we're going to do is we're going to tell everyone we're going to play playoff style hockey in the regular season to get you ready.
Jesus.
And then to go right back to being outside of the final play. I'm offended. I'm still offended. It's so arrogant. There's so much hubris in. You guys were playing that little tippy tappy fun stuff in the regular season. That stuff isn't we're gonna play. We're gonna play man hockey now.
Why did they break the team up?
Break the team up.
They didn't break the team up. They changed the style.
They changed coaches.
They broke the team up.
You and Huberdeau, you just won't get over this. They won that
Chuck has been way better than
Yeah,
Huberdeau.
go look at what Huberdeau's doing this year.
It
He's
doesn't
not
matter.
good.
It doesn't matter.
Eric
guys.
Saul has as many goals as Jonathan Huberdeau.
It doesn't matter, guys.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like Matthew Tkachuk's got a bunch of empty stats. You're out of the playoffs. You got
Empty. Get with the
Pretty awesome.
Huberdeau does the empty stat.
What are you talking about empty stats?
Yeah, they're empty if you don't win.
No.
They don't win games.
Panthers suck, huh?
Yeah, why are they so bad this year?
I mean,
They won the Biden Cup last year. Now what?
You guys are yelling at each other about won the trade, and I do believe the macro is, holy, they had the most fun team in hockey.
They tore apart a team that was amazing. After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
Murderer of fun wears a suit every night.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be trusted either because I think the problem still is, do we have faith in our netminder, Sergei Bobrovsky?
They're still going to miss the playoffs. They're not fun to watch. They don't have any discernible style. They play like all the other hockey teams. And in the middle of it, there's a very standout individual who is getting his stats, but is very clearly not helping the team win with those stats.
Give me a few years in a row in the postseason, and instead they just blew it up.
The bigger conversation to have here is, do we owe Maurice an apology?
Not yet.
Because it seems like they're coming into form. A lot of criticism. These group chats were filled with firing the coach early in the season.
That's one of the most annoying things about Mike Ryan, right, is right there. Do we owe him an apology? He is going to be stubborn about giving that apology.
I would place a lot of that blame on installing this new system.
But if it pans out into a deep run in the playoffs, we all have to take the L.
All right, easy with it panning out.
Not we
No,
all.
I'm just saying.
Not we all.
Here's why panning out is a bit of a stretch. Because if they get into the playoffs, what in all likelihood is going to be waiting for them is the top seed Boston Bruins, who are practically
Dear
setting.
God, best team ever.
I have no feeling towards this team. None. They ripped the soul out of it.
This has been every hockey season. We check in at about now.
Which is, to Zaslow's point, exactly why it's so ridiculous that they broke the team up.
Yeah. You know what would have been okay with me? Being the most fun team for maybe several seasons in a row, getting to the playoffs, God forbid, back-to-back seasons, and maybe win a couple playoff series instead of setting fire to it and trying to do something completely the opposite. And now they're going to miss the playoffs.
It's the most arrogant Whittingham has ever sounded. Do you know how hard that is?
That is an achievement.
Do you know? Like, I mean, listen, pal. And the
That's like his version of, hey, mother effer.
And after that, though, we're going to play man hockey now in the most sarcastic way possible.
Listen, pal. Listen, pal. Listen, pal.
It's unbelievable.
Listen, pal.
And just listen, pal. And you listened, and everything was wrong.
Listen, pal.
Every last thing was the most maximum opposite wrong.
Listen, pal.
On all the principles.
I mean,
Paul Maurice,
He
Matthew
got
Tkachuk.
every single thing wrong.
He refuses to capitulate.
Yeah, where is he?
It's not a bit, dude. Like he is actively rooting against the Florida Panthers because of, I swear to you.
Where is he right now?
Back me up. Like Chris is in the group chat
It's
with me.
disgusting.
No.
He tries to jinx the Panthers.
No.
Cynthia FaceTimed him. He was like ghosting, and then she just texted "bleep you" with like a.
No, he's got to.
How do you spell that?
No, he's got to work for us some last few minutes from a bathtub,
Like
and he's
raw
got
with
to
an
eat.
R
He's
at the
got to
end.
eat some of this stuff. Come on, I don't care. Everyone's saying you should see how happy Whittingham looked. He's singing up the steps at Meadowlark in New York. They're saying he looks thin and healthy.
Yeah,
Getting away from Stugotz has done so much for him.
Yeah, you know how in like wrestling, a person's a bad guy when they start wearing suits and just darker colors and they change their appearance?
They do that.
Woody has changed. Like the Apple thing, like he's become like an Apple villain. He's just like a different dude now.
Wearing
And
2 watches. He's corporate witty now. Big time Apple guy. So refreshed now that he's gotten out from under the metal stress.
I know Woody to have been a massive Florida Panthers fan.
He was
Imagine
last
a
year.
huge
Imagine
Panther
the
fan.
existence for him right now, where he's just so entrenched in a take that it's ruining the greatest run of our lives for the Panthers.
Like I hated the
Way
Deshaun
to
Watson
fight through
thing. I stopped being a Browns fan,
night.
and like I'm cool with them losing, but I'm not like actively hating on the Browns. I'm just like, okay, that's not my team anymore. He is actively hating the Florida Panthers.
So here's the thing, like, because Whitty, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, thank you. He fell in love with the team last year, and Huberdeau in particular. So the trade of Huberdeau
They were
was
exciting to watch all season.
But, like,
they'd
that's-
score 7 goals a game. They'd go down 3-0, and it didn't matter. Like they did that all last season. They were the best. I mean, you come from the Phoenix Suns. They were the best regular season offensive hockey team the sport has ever seen. A sport that includes Gretzky, everybody else, ever.
Right.
And they blew it up because that don't work in the playoffs.
But that's the irony, is like that incarnation is what won his fandom, and blowing it up is what blew up his fandom. And so of course he feels entrenched in, hey, you guys took away my joy.
But they changed a first-time head coach that was interim because of the Quenneville stuff. And Brunette showed you in the playoffs he wasn't necessarily ready for prime time. And they traded a beloved player in Jonathan Huberdeau and an analytics superstar in Mackenzie Weegar, and they brought in Matthew Tkachuk, an American superstar from Calgary. That's not blowing up the team. It's not. He's just pissed because he bought a Jonathan Huberdeau jersey and he got traded right after.
That's what I'm saying. It's blowing up the team in terms of blowing up what he fell in love with, right? It's not necessarily.
He's just entrenched on this take, dude.
Yeah,
it's nothing deeper than
Okay,
that.
look,
He's
this
just
is
like
not-
he was like
it's
at the beginning of
the
the
most
straight,
wrong someone
he was
could be.
pro Huberdeau. Everyone was kind of like, oh, that guy's Kachuk's young. Everyone was kind of pro the trade, and he was like, no, I'm going to take the other side. And he's just staying there, and he won't admit, hey, I was wrong about that. When he does the empty stats thing, I'm just like, you got nothing. You have nothing. They couldn't be less empty stats.
this show.
Dan Tkachuk scored the goal to send them to the
No,
Stanley
I know,
Cup.
with 3 seconds left. I know, it's an insanity. You don't
This is
get-
the time to
you
say,
don't
I'm
get-
sorry, I was
you don't-
wrong.
You don't, after multiple walk-offs, and again, games where Gretzky's going, that's the best thing. I'm amazed that Barkov even tried that in that situation. And hockey is genuflecting in front of this story. They know how hard this shit is. That sport's brutal, man. Brutal. Mike just skipped past the Quenneville stuff. That team from last year had an enormous scandal at the time, like the most scandalous thing almost in the history of executives in South Florida. Not just sports, all of them. A great coach at the top of an exciting team. He got gone in shame and stigma because hockey's got a terrible, terrible problem of abusing young boys sexually. And that's where they were. Like that's what was in the middle of last season. And there are all sorts of real life shit these days that get in the way of the contaminants, like the contaminants that come and infect. Am I allowed to enjoy something? Am I allowed to enjoy?
Yes. Are
Winning
you watching
him-
hockey?
but
Are
winning-
you watching
yes,
hockey?
I am.
Are you falling in love with this team?
I'm not.
What?
What?
Are you dead inside?
This
That
is
in company.
this.
This is a terrible joke. Just
Just
get out of
go.
here.
Yeah.
Just get out of here.
The entire fuck out of the
Well,
studio.
this is what he's doing today, though. Look, he does not understand. He does not understand the amount of passions that you guys have for these things. He just wants to do show. He doesn't want to talk Panthers hockey. And Mike, this place I've got to side with him. It's not just Samson. Like Ron McGill's a longtime friend of the show and just wants to come on and like apologize publicly because of something that happened at his zoo that it's an international insult, and you won't even allow him on the show.
We got too many guests. We're trying to get every Florida Panther, including actual Panthers. We're trying to find one of the 200 living in the state of Florida. I go, no. I never had the opportunity, as long as I've been doing this, and I've been doing this a long time at a very high level,
here
to
we
celebrate my team
Here we
making
go.
it to the Stanley Cup Finals. You, in the audience,
are going to have to deal with this back room feeling itself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
shame on you for not falling in love with this team. Do you see Gustav Forsling battling out there?
I
Yep.
have told
Do you see him battling?
I have told you that, and this is
I'm
happening.
gonna put my feet up too.
Well, it's happening in our studio, though. You have seen, and around our studio. Lewis is.
Are you wearing pants?
Maybe.
Well, no, Chris. This is disturbing. Chris has been doing the show without pants.
Dick.
No,
I just see your dick.
he's been not what Chris
I'm
has.
fine with it.
Chris had what?
We finally broke Roy.
Fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with
You're
it.
fine with Chris Cody. We're telling the audience, we're being honest with the audience, that Chris Cody has grown increasingly more unreasonable and more fanatical because he's been as right as Whittingham's been wrong. And he took off his pants at some point in the last segment. None of us noticed.
I've definitely grown.
It's freckled, and I thought he had done that, but I wasn't totally sure. And Roy looked and he says, you know what? I'm fine with nudity in the workplace. I'm fine with his fandom. I'm fine with everything that's happening.
We're
here.
celebrating today, Dan. Get naked.
We're going to Vegas.
We're going to Vegas,
We're
baby.
going to Vegas. We beat the Boston Bruins.
That's what
We
started.
beat
No, that's
No,
where it
getting to
started.
the playoffs is where it started because
Yeah.
that was hard.
Yeah.
We needed the Blackhawks to beat the Penguins.
Oh, shit. No.
Like that.
Yes. That and it was that run that made you
What
all
is a meme doing?
you all bench Bobrovsky.
That look. Oh, he's writing. Oh, that
Writing
was
something.
Graphic.
Okay, now we
That
can see the
looked
pen.
graphic.
Oh.
That looked bad.
What is
Wow.
great about you three enjoying
Aggressively
the hell
writing.
out of this with Chris Cody not wearing pants is that you all benched Bobrovsky for the last 7 games. All of you. The only reason you're in the playoffs is because you benched Bobrovsky.
I'm
for
not so
7
sure I
games.
doubted him. Let's listen back. Maybe I did. He was bad.